anyway, it looks like we've got it basically fixed, but I just need to do a few things. So let's work on other people's problems. So I'm in voice chat if you wanted to join, Adam. And I'll be taking a look at what we've got going on. Yeah, I can hear you. Alright, so you're no longer muted on stream, so.
Right. So no swearing.
I don't know about that.
We'll see, won't we? So yeah, I got the latest and just tried building a couple of times and just kept getting that fail error. So I tried running anyway and then immediately got a DLL kind of error. So
yeah, it's gonna blow up if you're unable to build.
Yeah.
So let's see, it was in plugins, experimental, raw input. And I'm looking up the history for that. So it's so platform Windows is supposed to be doing this stuff. So I think it's the raw input function library. If you could just make sure that those in this path here, I'll copy it for you. But in that path, basically, we want to look at raw input function library.h and make sure that it's got those axes
plugins experimental
defined in that file.
Okay, so function library. Yeah. So what am I looking for? Sorry, I missed that last bit.
Oh, these 4 lines there.
Okay.
Make sure those axes up, because that's what it's bitching about. It's not finding that when it's linking.
Yeah, it looks like what lines are they? 59 to 63. Yeah, they're there.
It may be that there's a build difference. Like Scott hasn't had any problems building either, and the build system builds using might be doing stuff. So why don't you boot up Visual Studio? Boot up the Unreal UE4.sln inside of Project Dashkin.
All right. It's opening up. I only use Visual Studio so rarely, so I don't know if it's.
Well, you're using Visual Studio whenever you actually build. It's just not opening.
Right. I might need to, unless you can explain to me where to go, I might need to share the screen with you. Yeah. But I'm on the start page of Visual Studio, so I need to hit the attach button or something from memory, or.
Yeah, it might be a good idea to switch over to Hangout or something.
All right. Sec.
So I'll drop out of this channel. Can you hear me all right?
Yep. Let me share the screen. Share. All right.
So did you boot up Visual Studio directly, or did you double-click the UE4 SLM?
Just boot it up directly.
Got some mad echo going on there.
Oh, really? I've got your stream.
Not there anymore. All right. Yeah. So go ahead and close Visual Studio, and you want to open it in the Project Dashkin folder.
Okay. This one here.
Yeah. That'll open it up properly for you.
All right. All right.
All right. So we need to wait for all that to initialize. So how I do stuff is I right-click on Dashkin there where your mouse is close, and I do build.
Don't rebuild.
Yeah, don't rebuild. You're gonna regret that. Right, so
I remember that much.
I think you got development editor and Win64 and everything. So this is going through stuff. So what we're looking for in that output window is that it actually builds the raw input plugin.
Right.
So you can make that a little bit bigger. But it doesn't look like it actually built it. UE4 web browser DLL. So what is it trying to do? It's trying to build the web browser itself. So it's in webbrowser.cpp. Trying to think, if we go to plugins, experimental, raw input, I mean it should all be there. Oh, if you right click on UE4 and hit build, let me try that. It's under engine.
Where's that, in Visual Studio? Or?
Yeah, it's right next to your mouse. Engine's right above that, where you were.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And hit build like that.
Okay.
Because that can trigger other builds that Dashkin may not trigger. Because what I think is happening is it needs to rebuild that DLL, but it's not rebuilding it for some reason. Yeah, see there, it's building raw input.
Right.
Oh God. I'm building the UE4 editor, analytics, visual editing shit. Okay, so now build Dashkin. Yeah, alright, so you're fixed.
Excellent. So I should be able to just, I wouldn't need to build now through this, would I? I could just open.
Yeah, it's already built, so you're good to go. Yeah, so you can close Visual Studio, and I think your problem's fixed. And yeah, it's kind of unfortunate that that's a Visual Studio bug. It should have detected that it needed to rebuild that, but it didn't. So you sometimes have to kick it to wake up.
Yeah.
So
awesome.
Anyway.
All right. Thanks, man.
All right, I'll drop off.
Enjoy stream.
All right. Alright, cool. Back to what I'm doing, which is waiting for now this dumbass rest of Unreal to build itself, which looks like it's going to take a little while. So it looked like the big thing was that we weren't getting through on our tests because we weren't testing that much. So we were testing like five messages, and then we were only waiting like 1 second. So we probably should wait like a full second and actually wait half a second and send 10 messages. So it'll be like a full 5 seconds of pings that will actually run through. Oh, it looks like it's almost finished. Cool. Excellent. So we should probably wait for startup to happen on the game thread. Do I have anything like that? Like, there's like a startup and use thread is true, right? Startup true. So tick, what we want to do is wait for ready. Yeah, so that test server, wait for ready. We probably want to wait. What is this in? It's in milliseconds. So I'm just gonna say like wait up to 3 seconds, and this might halt the. It's gonna halt the main thread, so it's not gonna paint or anything, but that's okay. We popped up the loading screen, and UI is on a separate thread, so hopefully the little fat sack will be dancing for us. Though probably not, because reasons. And so wait for ready before calling the platform and telling it to communicate with us. And I think that's all that's happening is we're just not waiting for that thread to get spun up and bind to the port appropriately. And I'm also going to put a log here, sending test message. Let's put that up. Yeah, well, it's always a good day when fixing an issue requires just a partial build there, because that would have been kind of a pain in the ass thing to do, to tell Adam, like, oh yeah, so you have like a compile error, so what you're going to have to do is hit rebuild, and then tomorrow you'll be able to do some development, because it's going to take 40 freaking minutes to build. So I'm going to try with the port 7070, like I have hard-coded in there to start with. No, I didn't get anything. Alright, let's up it to 30 and see what we can do with this. So attempting to send to 127.001.7070, and we're just failing to receive data. Why? Like, we were getting data from our other test client. So something's wrong with what we're doing here. Because we got our on UDP server message, on message, on message. So it's that something's different with our single directional datagram packet thing. So let's take a look at what this does. So our bidirectional one has a send I mean, this is just calling imsocket send with a byte buffer and a target address, and this one is actually like creating a datagram packet and calling send on it. So maybe what we need to do is just change this to this. And for our socket, it's a datagram channel. All right, we'll just get rid of this crap. So how does this UDP server thing work? We're making a datagram channel, which is datagram channel.open. All right, so what does this do? The new channel created by invoking open datagram channel method system-wide selector provider. The protocol family is the open allows the protocol family to be selected. Alright, so let's just do configure blocking, false, register for read. We don't need a register for read. Alright, so why don't we just call this channel, because that's what it is now. Create the socket address where the IP is the wildcard address. Maybe we have to just, we'll see if we have to bind this. So why don't we just start our server back up and see if it'll not be angry with us. There we go. I'm getting all those UDP messages coming through. Alright, so that's actually excellent. Alright, so we'll do 250, because I don't want this thing to hang around too long, so we'll send like 10 messages. Awesome. So we got all the messages. So that'll allow people to test their online connectivity. So let's go back to our JavaScript for this. Let's have this, and we don't actually need 5 entire seconds to verify connectivity. We only need like 3, so why don't we just do 3 seconds? So then what I'll probably do is I'll check this in. I will then deploy the server out to test and then see if the port forwarding stuff works from the test environment to my local machine. And then we can tell Lucas at least next update he won't have to talk to Caracan in order to test if his local server works. Alright, so we got our server admin password challenge. I need to double check that the player controller challenge, so if the admin password is greater than 0, okay, so good. If there's no password set, admin challenge the added UDP server for Unreal, added online connection check. Alright, so then what we want to do is go to our build machine, make it build our Java server, and we'll wait for that. And let's see, sprint 2 for us. Port forwarding tester should be finished. So the next thing, oh yeah, we also got admin password. Today's Thursday, isn't it? Yeah, it's the 11th. We'll need the help page for forwarding setup and a site to help people set up their own servers. So that's probably going to be the wiki, and that's probably the right place to put that sort of information. So we probably minimum system specs. We can actually start messing with some of this. I don't know how to use wiki. Jesus Christ. How do you make a bullet point list? Use a hashtag? Alright, so this will be minimum resolution is 800 by 600. I think it's Windows XP Service Pack 2. Let's see. Let's see, graphics card. What are the different shader models? Are they shader models? Shader models? I guess shader model 4.0. So this is the NVIDIA 8 series ATI Radeon HT 2000 Plus, or the something like that. Alright, so our Java server finished. How do you make it an unordered list though? Asterisk for bullets? Don't tell me how to do things. No, thank you. I will fix some of this crap. Alright, so our Java server's there, so let's go ahead and deploy our service to the test environment. And let's also tell our editor to hit the test environment instead of our local environment. And we'll wait for that deployment to go out there. And might as well SSH into the server. Let's crack open some more caffeinated beverages because I'd like to die of a heart attack. Alright, so supposedly that's deployed. Alright, so we're just going to sit here while this thing tries to bind to the port. Thank you, Amazon Linux, for not releasing TCP ports, even though they're unbound properly, for 60 seconds, because you're a piece of shit, Linux. Even Windows does a better job of releasing ports than Amazon Linux. Alright, so that server's online. Are the test game servers still online? I could turn those off. Save us lunch money. Maybe we'll be able to pay our intern in something so he doesn't have to starve to death slowly. It's in Virginia. Why can't they just make this a fucking alphabetical list? What's wrong with the alphabet, Amazon? Is it too good for letters? Alright, yeah, test is already shut off for that environment. Good. Awesome. So our port forwarding test completely works. So that's pretty cool. So hopefully that'll help people a little bit figure out if their stuff's working. So the next thing we need to do is we need to write up these pages on how to like set up your port forwarding. Alright, so we need local server setup is a page. I mean, we kind of want another entire page. So duplicate this page? Sure. Title, source, destination, duplicate discussion, duplicate. This is going to be local dedicated server setup. Alright, this will be quick links. So gameplay, technical, we want local dedicated server setup. Can we actually change the name of the page? Move, new title. Let's just say local server setup. Leave a redirect? No. This page provides instructions for setting up your local, setting up to host games locally, and also set up local dedicated servers. Alright, so let's see. Big things will be hosting locally. To host a game locally. Let's just pull up the game over on my other screen and I'll walk through it as I do it. Maybe I should take screenshots. Host the game locally. Navigate to the multiplayer, create a game screen. Select enter your game name. Let's see, hashtag, game locally. Navigate to the multiplayer, create a game screen, enter your game name, enter your level, select advanced options. For more advanced options, such as the number of players, let's see, number of players, port, team size. Guess maybe I should select advanced options. Game options. This is a list of all game options and what they do. So asterisk the game name. This is the name that your game has. It will show up in the game browser as such. Time limit. This is how long matches last. Set to 0 for matches that last forever. Set password. This is the password for your game. Players will be challenged when attempting to join and must match your password. Your password is not sent to the backend servers and is kept locally. So let's see. I can update our user graphs for today. Alright, so we're not doing custom server. We are now writing help pages for Dashkin. This is the best stream ever. Alright guys, we're gonna write wiki pages for some stupid indie game. Alright. so score to win. This is how many points a side must score in order to win a match. Set to 0 for a time-only victory condition. Alright, level. This is which level your server runs. Team size max. This is how many people can be on a specific team. The max number of players is twice the number. So if team size max is 3, then 6 people can join. Let's see. Listed publicly. Check. Set this to true if you'd like your game to show up in the game browser. Must be logged in for this to take effect. Let's just make sure this looks halfway decent. Alright, this is a list of all these things. Alright, so hosting locally, select advanced for advanced options. Refer to game options below for detailed explanation. Click Start Game to begin hosting your server. Alright, so if we start a game, let's put it up here. To change game options while hosting, enter the pause menu, click enter by hitting enter, I think it's start for escape, enter the game options menu, change your game options, and hit apply settings. I should say, make sure to apply settings after you're finished. Let's see. Some options require the match to end to take effect. Select the End Match button to end the match and apply settings immediately. Okay, I should say debugging. Bracken, I should say, Dashkin uses the UDP protocol for network communication via direct IP. Most clients are behind a router and are unreachable by public entities. That's so stupid. I'm writing this crap like an engineer. Most clients will not. Most local servers will not be joinable unless you set up your. Yeah, I should just say. Step 1 should be set up your local network to allow public joining. Refer to port forwarding below. Alright, so debugging. I cannot. My game is not showing up in the game browser list. What do we do? Do a double indent? Is it 2 stars? You must be logged in for your game to show up in the game browser list. If you still aren't showing up, make sure that the listed publicly option is set to true in your game options. Nobody can join my game. They all get timed out messages. They're not publicly joinable. This could be many problems. Most likely port forwarding is not set up. Refer to the port forwarding section for help. My game options aren't taking effect. Some game options need the match to end to take effect. Click the End Match button in the game options menu to end the match and apply the settings. I set a password on my game, but players aren't able to join even when they put in the right password. Make sure you don't use any non-ASCII characters in your password. If you're an international, so just make sure you don't use any non-ASCII characters. Stick to the basic letters, numbers, and special characters. Let's see. Would there be any other basic issues? I don't think so. So let's see how that looks. So I should probably look up wiki markup. Wiki markup. Which thing are we using? Media wiki markup? So media wiki markup. Help with formatting. Alright, so we should start doing stuff like this. Host a game locally, debugging game options. Yeah, it's a little bit kind of, I think we need another, like level 3. Alright, so port forwarding. When hosting your own dedicated or custom game, you must be publicly reachable via the internet. Most networks block traffic by default. So in order for other people to join your game, you must set up port forwarding for your machine. This requires specialized knowledge of your local network and administrator passwords for your router. So, let's see, we want like high level information, bracket sec, let's just say Dashkin requires the following ports to be open by default. 7777 UDP main game. 7787 UDP ping. Navigate in your browser to your router's configuration menu. Find the port forwarding options and enable the port forwarding. Enable port forwarding for these 2 ports to your machine. I completely forget what the fuck the password is. Thanks for popping up a fucking ad on my page, Comcast, for your own support page. And I need to insert an image here. I'll just put a basic image. You must set up port forwarding using your internal network's IP address, not your public address. Alright, let's see if we can link an image. How the hell do we link images in this thing? So upload a file. I think I've got my Comcast port forwarding. Summary. This is an example of port forwarding setup for Comcast, for a Comcast router. Alright, so how do we... I guess we have to do file and then port forwarding Comcast.png. Alright, so what we want is 1, 2, 3, finding your internal IP address. Alright, so in order to do this, probably the easiest way that I'd want people to work on would be going to their control panel,